For this lesson, you need to open the sample file Annual Sales Summary 1 from your Sample Files folder. It's possible to approximate the values that are displayed in a chart by looking at the vertical axis. For example, if I wanted to know the 2007 sales value, I can see from the chart alone that it's a little over 1.2 million. But if I wanted the exact value, I'd have to look at the data underpinning the chart, and I can see that in cell P8 the actual value is 1,260,340. But sometimes you'll want to show a chart in isolation, but you'll also want to convey the precise values that the chart's showing. This lesson will show you two different ways to do this. We'll begin by using the skills you learned in lesson 5.10 to filter the data shown on the chart. Instead of showing years 2001 to 2007, I'd like to simply show 2004 to 2007. So I'll click just inside the border of the chart to activate it, and three icons appear to the top right of the chart. One of them is the Chart Filters icon, so I'll click Chart Filters, and I'll deselect the checkboxes next to 2001, 2002 and 2003. And when I click Apply, you can see that I'm now only charting the years 2004 to 2007. Next, I'd like to only chart sales rather than charting both sales and cost. So I'll do the same thing, activate the chart, click the Chart Filters button, and then clear the checkbox next to Cost. And I'll then click Apply and back onto the worksheet. Now let's look at the first way to convey the exact values that each bar relates to. And this is to use data labels. To add data labels, I'll click just inside the border of the chart, and then click the Chart Elements button. When I hover the mouse cursor over Data Labels, you can see that there's a flyout menu button to the right. I'll click the flyout menu button, and you can see that there are several locations where the data labels can appear. I'll hover over each in turn, and you can see that the chart is now showing a preview of how the data labels would look when displayed on the chart. I think the one that worked best for me was Outside End, so I'll click Outside End, and then click back onto the worksheet to dismiss the menu. Data labels can be moved and formatted just like any other element. When preparing a chart for a PowerPoint presentation, the data labels are often too small to be visible at the back of the room. And you might want to also fine-tune the positioning of the data labels. For most format options, right-click a data label to select the entire series, and then select Format Data Labels from the shortcut menu. This allows you to format the data labels in almost any way you want to. You can also change the font size by clicking the Home tab on the ribbon, and then Font Size drop-down to make the fonts larger or smaller. Sometimes you might want to format a single data label in isolation, perhaps to emphasize the value of a particular year's sales. I can see that 2006 had the greatest sales, so let's format the data label for the 2006 bar to bring attention to it. Now when you click on a single data label, you select the entire data label series. So how can you select a single data label? Well, the answer is to simply click on it again, and the other data labels are deselected. I'll now apply some special formatting to this single data label. I think I'll make it bold-faced, give it a yellow background, and make the text dark red. But let's put things back the way they were again now by clicking the Undo button on the Quick Access toolbar a few times. Now let's move on to a different way of conveying the precise values being shown on a chart, and that's to add a data table element. You learned how to add single elements in Lesson 5.9. I click just inside the border of the chart, then I click the Chart Elements icon, and then I select Data Table. And you can see that the values are now shown beneath each bar. I think now I have my data table, I'll also switch off the data labels by deselecting the checkbox. All that remains now is to save your work, and I'm going to save with the new name, Annual Sales Summary 2, and as usual I'll save to the folder above my sample files folder. I click the Save button, and you've now completed Lesson 5.18, Add Data Labels to a Chart.